Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to be restoring a Dinky Toys number 143, the Ford Capri. These were produced from 1962 until 1967. So it looks to me like this is based off of the 1961 console Capri. Those early 60s ones are by far the best looking Capris. You have to think, although this is a vintage car now, when this toy came out this would have been like the brand new cars of the day. Anyway, we'll just take a closer look at it off of the turntable. Pretty scruffy there, it's missing a lot of paint. Tyres have obviously perished long ago. There's a tiny crack in the windscreen and a bit of rust on the bottom there. They have the pressed steel bases on the Dinky toys. We'll start taking it apart. The rivets are outies, so I start by making some little notches in them with my rotary tool, and then I can drill them out. And then I can pop the base off. See, they used to use a piece of sponge in a lot of these old Dinkies to keep the interior in place. So they've got a massive great rivet there holding the windscreen in. This was a bit of a pig to drill out. Eventually, with a bit of wiggling and prying, I got it out of there. I did crack it a little bit, but luckily it didn't go onto the visible part of the windscreen. So there's the body of the car ready for paint stripper. I'm going to paint stripper the base as well. I use my Dremel to take off the ends of the axles. Then I can take the rims off there. And here they are after the paint stripper's been applied. Did a great job of removing the paint from the body of the car. There was a couple of scraps left which I used to colour match some paint. There we go, and that's pretty close. And the paint stripper didn't even touch the black paint on the base here. Moving on, I'm going to give them a clean up with a wire brush on my rotary tool. Just getting rid of all that oxidation off of the body casting there and those remaining scraps of paint. And then I cleaned up the base, removing all that rust and all of the paint that didn't come off with the stripper. Here they are after cleaning up. The body's nice and clean and shiny, and all of that paint and rust's gone off the base. On to painting. The base was just given a nice new coat of black paint. Before I painted the body, I quickly tapped and drilled the rivet post so I can put it together with some screws later on. And then I started out with a couple of coats of nice white. Next I masked off the roof of the car. If If you're doing this yourself, it might be easy to go the other way around actually and paint the whole car green and then mask off the body and paint the roof white. But anyway, here's what it looks like after the masking tape was removed. And next I painted in the details, the grille and the rear bumper and the tail lights. I'm sure some people will mention, why aren't the door handles done in the comments, but they didn't seem to be painted on the original models, and neither were the badges onto the windscreen. There we go, there's only the original tiny crack that's in the windscreen there. All the other ones were luckily only in the top section. It's a little scuffed, so I give it a good sanding with some 2000 grit sandpaper. Next it is polished, using some plastic polish. I usually start out hand polishing and then finish it up with a buffing wheel on my rotary tool. And here it is after I've finished. It's looking nice and shiny now. Here's the interior. It's one of those flimsy sort of vacuum formed plastic ones, but it's really clean, there's nothing wrong with it, so I don't need to do anything to that. And here are those rims. I gave them a good buff sort of clean with a brush on my rotary tool. And the axles here, just give them a going over with some sandpaper. And there we go, they're looking a little bit more shiny. So here are all the parts of our old Dinky Ford Capri, refurbished, repainted and ready to go back together. Reassembly is pretty simple, but I'll show you how I put the wheels on. Just used Marty's method with a couple of drilled out nails and my drill press. There we go, that's not going anywhere. So while I'm reassembling the rest of it, let's just take a moment to look back and be reminded of what we started with. A very play-worn looking old Capri. It's definitely seen a bit of action. This would have been some kid's awesome sports car toy back in the 60s, but now it is a bit of a scruffy mess, missing heaps of paint. Got no tyres left on it. And the windows are looking pretty scuffed and worn. It's also pretty filthy. It's got some strange stuff stuck on the boot there. Sure no way to be leaving one of the best looking Capris ever. So let's give it a tidy up. And here it is, our finished, restored, Dinky Ford Capri. All that grub and grime and the old chipped paint job are long gone, and it's been repainted with a nice original coloured paint job. Well, as best as I can match it anyway. It's had the window de-scuffed and shined up, along with the rims. They've been shined up as well, and it's got some nice brand new tyres on there. It's been re-detailed. I reckon it's pretty much good to go as it was when it was brand new. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you used to own one of these when you were a kid? Was it new at the time or a hand-me-down? I'd imagine plenty of these little toys have seen a few generations of kids. Thanks heaps to everyone for supporting the channel and the great comments and likes on my videos. Extra special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to join them supporting the channel and helping me make videos like this for you to watch, you can check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description down below. There's also a link where you can get 10% off some good super glue down there. Thanks heaps for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you'd like to see more similar stuff, remember to subscribe and click the bell. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.